Hey everybody, good morning. I am coming on alone today to talk a little bit about surveys. Um, I had a situation pop up this week that related to a client survey, and it reminded me that it would probably be useful to talk a little bit about surveys and encroachments and easements and what all that sort of thing means to you as a homeowner. And things that you really need to be looking out for whenever you make improvements to your property. Um, I First of all, let me tell you what the survey is. So this is a survey. What it basically does is it shows the house as it lays out on the lot, and you can see it's got the surveyor's seal, and this means that they have verified the various easements and build lines and all of the improvements that have been made to the property and additions and how they lay out on the survey. Hey, Donna. Good morning. So I guess the things that are incredibly important for you guys to know as homeowners is that whenever you go to, add a pool, if you're going to add a patio, things like that, it is incredibly important that you know where your easements are. Whenever you go to add a pool, you need to be working with a pool company that, number one, knows how to work with your HOA, but also that they're paying really close attention to where your easements are. And for that, they're going to need a copy of your survey. And also, whenever you go and have this done, you're going to need to pay attention as the homeowner and not take for granted that they're actually building within those easements. I mean, outside of those easements. So this week I had an issue where there was an outdoor kitchen that was encroaching a bit on the back of the property. And there was also what the surveyor had shown was concrete that was going into the 7-foot utility easement in the back. So what happens is whenever you're trying to sell your property, the title company is going to take exception to those portions of the survey on their title insurance. And there are certain situations where they actually take exception on the lender's policy, and then the lender won't actually, they won't fund the loan. So it can't close. So that's a big issue. I have had that once, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But in this particular instance, they were taking exception on the buyer's title policy, and we just needed to make some clarifications. Good morning, Aunt Beth. Some clarifications need to be made because what the surveyor actually showed being in the 7-foot utility easement in the back. Good morning, Aunt Patty. Man, we got a bell roll call this morning. All my beautiful aunts are on here. So what was actually encroaching into the back of the survey were pavers. So I was able to go back and provide photos to the title company, who in turn reached out to the surveyor, and then they were able to clarify what that particular material was that was going into the easement. In that case, if it's pavers, it's not a permanent structure. So they were able to take that exception to the title insurance off. And so that was one thing that we needed to clear up. Another thing that we needed to clear up was that they were what they had said was in the side 5-foot utility easement was brick and concrete. And in this case, it was just part of an outdoor kitchen that came over, and they wanted to make sure that it was very clear that it wasn't the house itself, because clearly that would be an issue with any future sale. And so it was clear looking at the survey that that's not what it was, but we needed to provide some information so that they were able to clarify that that's what it was. And now, we're all happily cruising to closing today. All that being said, the way that you can avoid these issues, good morning, Teresa, is to make sure that whenever you hire someone to add improvements to the exterior of your home, that not only are there initial plans that they draw up that you end up getting approved with the HOA, not only that everything stays out of the easements at that point. But whenever they actually come and start working on your home, that you are out there verifying that they are not building into your easement. And I can tell you that whenever we put the pool in and the patio in here, I was out asking on the regular that they verify how many feet they were away from the fence, to ensure that they were not building into the easement. And another reason why it's important to look at your survey is because if your fence line doesn't follow exactly the property line, then you need to figure that into it as well. Because let's say your fence is built, right outside of your property line. If you're measuring from the fence in, you could still be building into your easement. So you need to be careful of those things whenever you're having things built. I'm going to tell you a crazy story. This survey was done on a property that I sold out in Dayton. This was the first property that Og and I worked on together after he was licensed. And you can't tell from the drawings here, because this is how the surveyor actually did it out there. I'm like, I can't tell what's going on this thing. I don't know if you can, but it's a lot of scribbling. This is the way that they used to be done back in the day. And the surveyor still operated in this way. But the problem was that there was a mobile home that was encroaching upon my client's property by about 7 feet. And that was going to be an exception on the lender's policy. The lender was not going to fund the loan. And we were scrambling to try to figure out how on earth we were going to close this deal. My clients had another property under contract that they were moving to, and they were ready to be done with this. So we ended up having to go over and find out who the owners of the property were next door and prove to them that their mobile home was actually over on the property line. So it was a little bit of a complicated process, but we were able to prove that to them. And then my clients offered at that one given time that if they would agree to it, they would pay to have the mobile home moved. So we actually were out at the property wherein a service, it was a big 18-wheeler comes out and he drags the mobile home over. And we're out watching, and I'm trying to verify that that property line is clear. And we were able to provide proof to the title company, who then was able to change their title insurance in a way, to remove those exceptions. And so the lender was able to fund the transaction, and we closed. And so I keep this survey in my office in a frame to always remind myself that if I could close this deal, we can figure out anything else. So surveys, incredibly important. Easements, incredibly important. A lot of people think, oh, I know that if I build this patio over here, or I put this concrete slab out here, I know that the utility company might come in and need, access to the easement. And, if they need to bust that up or whatever, I'm not worried about it. But it's more than that. It can actually stand in the way of you selling your home later. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware, in that whenever you have projects, that, you're really out there verifying where it is that they're putting that. It's incredibly important. Also, I have a 14-foot easement in the back of my property because I back to Mud District property. And so that means that they don't share the 14 like you would with another homeowner whenever you have a 7-foot easement. So I had to build the patio, to that 14-foot easement, and the pool to the 14-foot easement. And then, just as a tip, one way that you can get away with actually using some of that extra space back there is that we used pavers and we went back into the easement. So we were actually able to use it as entertaining space, and makes it, more usable space. So if you ever have questions about that, and you're planning a project in your backyard and you're struggling with that, that easement back there, just, reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk to you about, ways that you can work around it to where you can make it still usable space without actually putting a future sale into jeopardy. So anyway, just wanted to come on this morning, talk a little bit about that. If you guys have questions about surveys, reach out and let me know. Hope you guys are having a beautiful day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.